Hello everybody, welcome to this video on map control. We're going to look at how to play as a 4 and 1, how to split push as an anti-mage, and how to apply pressure as a team of 4 and make space for that anti-mage or whatever carry in his role. So the game we're looking at today is between Secret and VP. We've got a nice cinematic shot to open with for our titular hero. So this game was pretty recent. It's not going to show me that there. If I can actually just go back this way. Perhaps. No? There we go. So you can see the date, match ID here. Match date and time is on the 10th, so very recent. We're gonna look at about a 10-minute window of this game, try to make it as concise as possible. Forgive the long intro, sorry. So just for context for this game, it's a bit of a 2k gold lead with Secret. That's mainly concentrated on the Storm right now, and the difference between the supports of each team. Secret have probably the two greediest support players of all time in Puppy and Yapsaw. Especially Yapsaw and his Rubik, and VP have at least one of the most sacrificial supports in the entire game, or at least on the professional scene, in solo. So there's a stark difference in style, and you'll see that play out a little bit. Before we press play and we get into the game, there's two things I want to discuss for context. And that's what VP as the 4 and 1 team are playing into this game. So I'll zoom out a little bit. They're playing into what I want to look at is the kill threat and the push threat. The kill threat is for AM specifically, look at the kill threat especially. So that's concentrated on the Storm Spirit, highest net worth in the game right now. Doing pretty well for himself, level 10 minutes. You know, Kaya, which is the new build apparently on Storm Spirit, and there's a little bit of kill threat coming out from the root in Crystal Maiden, a little bit of a stun from Rubik and Ravage, and something from Lone Druid. So every hero from Secret has a little bit of something to take down AM, but it's mainly the Storm Spirit. He's the guy that has the mobility to chase AM after he blinks. And the tower threat is the other thing, the push threat. What can Secret do if VP were to let them? And the answer is LD is the best pushing hero in the game, arguably. So especially at this stage of the game, no other hero with this can put out the same kind of consistent threat, maybe outside of a Drow. But he's not the most farmed in the world. 2,000 from a little bit more than that, about 3,000 from Radiance, and that's when he's probably going to look to do that. So VP are up against heroes that can shut down their strat, and we're going to look at how they play to prevent that. They play to make space. So at this point in the game, I actually got to repause again. Sorry. At this very point in the game, it's an absolute. It's just farming. Both teams are just farming. Excuse me. So look at the top matchup. It's Rubik trying to push out the lane, and Razor trying to push in lane. Both teams have their offlane hero going into the jungle. You know, both teams have one hero trying to push the mid lane one way or the other. And Storm, before he was at this camp, was pushing in this lane. So the only heroes not farming for either team, the level 4 Spirit Breaker, and the level 5 Crystal Maiden. So after this point, in the next 30 seconds, it changes considerably. It not even considerably, it changes more than that completely into the 4 and 1 push, or the 4 and 1 pressure from VP, and Secret trying to fight in response to that. So I've got some notes here I'm going to look over and talk from. It's just what I'm looking at now. Okay, so it's the 12-minute mark now, night time as well. Ramzes has left the bottom lane. He's going mid, and everybody else you see, everybody else from VP, they've hit the button now. They've got what they want. You know, they've got fighting items on the heroes. There's a mech on Darkseer, drums on Razor, and they decide to all go bot. The Seeker want to fight. They feel in a strong position. AIM's gone off mid, but he's TP'd in because mid 1 is completely out of mana right under his tower. Just like that, free kill. Able to turn the tide of the fight. And he'll participate in another kill there. Yapsaw is actually the other hero. If you take it back 20 seconds, he does the exact same thing. And it shows you the difference in the teams, basically. Pause it right here. Ooh, even before that. Pause it right before, as the fight is breaking out. Razor's actually already dead to the Ravage. AIM is pushing in mid, and Yapsaw is the one for his team. You know, it's the absolute greediest Rubik in the game. So it's not a surprise to see Yapsaw do this. He's just cut the wave here, so trying to apply tower pressure. And he's going to do the same thing AM does. Now obviously AM has a lot more upside to doing that than Yapsaw on the Rubik, even though it is, you know, him on the Rubik, just by nature of their heroes. So you'll see how that pans out during the game. There's a lot invested into this, into accelerating that Blink Dagger. So anyway, back to the fight. It's a good rotation for Ramzes. He gets on the end of a kill. The Storm Spirit, the two big things to take away for VP is the Storm Spirit's momentum has been lost, or at least delayed, and the Ravage has been put on cooldown for no tower. There hasn't been an objective lost or taken with that Ravage. And at this point in the game, the Ravage cooldown is really, really significant. So Ramzes is now free to go anywhere he likes. VP again goes straight back down to bot. Ramzes will go top. And you can see there's no rewards for VP at this point. There's only this one where they're trying to play around. There's no wards protecting anywhere else on the map. So you might think Ramzes is a little bit vulnerable, but it's not so, because Storm has gone back because his team wants to help him. So his team wants him to help. But without the Ravage, Tide is mid right now. Without the Ravage, Secret just can't take this fight, and they get absolutely rolled over. So again, 2 deaths in about a minute has seriously damaged the Storm Spirit's momentum. And Storm vs AIM is actually a pretty even matchup. It's all dependent on momentum. If the Storm gets on top, he can really shut down an AM because he's got the mobility to go with him. But if the AM gets the ascendancy, which is very likely to at this stage, you know, completed the Battle Fury now, you know, maximum points of spell shield, he can get on top himself. So now I want to point out the warding actually. The warding from Solo here is really, really important. So this fight, this successful fight bot with no Ravage, Solo has taken this opportunity to go place this ward now, and is also placing a ward right here. So with that one, the first opportunity they get, VP have tried to take over this entire area, and if the AM is allowed to farm, you know, there's just the neutrals in this area, that's VP taking over essentially 75% of the map. It's what the upside of a 4-1 strat can do. Huge coverage, but you can only really do it successfully with the right carry hero. So mid 1, I'll replay this again. So Solo just put these wards down, but he's seen by the ward, and this is a good ward for, you know, this good ward for Secret to stop Solo being able to do this. So mid 1 sees the rotation. He knows that he has to get something back from what's just happened, but it's backfired. It's completely backfired because the rest of VP is able to respond. And Ramzes is in the right place at the right time. So he gets now a third kill on mid one's Storm. And you can see now in the net worth, Secret, the mid one has been, 5.5 for about 3 or 4 minutes now almost. Whereas Ramzes has gone up 3,000 gold in that. And it's a huge, huge, huge tempo, and you can't understate that, how big that tempo is. So, back to the warding. Secret respond to this kind of play from this aggressive map invasion from VP by trying to fight it. They've put wards down here already. They put a ward back here when the fighting was happening over this direction, and then they put another ward here. So they want to retain control of this. They're not looking to go straight for the aim. They're trying to fight their way out of it, and that's not completely unreasonable. They've got a decent team, but they just need their cores to hit their timing, which is what's been delayed. So right now, VP as a 4 with a bit of a roaming Spirit Breaker. I think he's hasted right now. Just as 4, they're pushing in mid. They don't want to go all the way down here where AM won't be able to help them. Remember, he was able to help them here because he could TP into tower. But if VP were to go down here, it's a much bigger commitment into a 4 versus however many heroes. So they're just pushing in mid, forcing Secret to have heroes here, but not all of the heroes. So Secret can push 1 or 2 up here. And Ramzes is mostly, completely left alone, really. He's just farming the safe areas right now. And that's what VP are enabling with this. VP are enabling a buffer zone for a highly, highly mobile hero like AIM to just soak up all this freeze farm. AIM is a space taker in that sense. He's not a space maker until he can split push with impunity, and that comes from items. So that's not the point in the game he's at yet. But right now I paused it to show what VP, another tactic that VP used. And this time, I'll spoil it here, but this time it doesn't really work out as wildly successfully as before. This time VP see that Lone Druid was top, at least they saw Tidehunter was top, they saw mid one pushing bot, so they think that Secret are spread out right now. Rightly so. But Secret are actually on the way back. They want to defend this mid tower. So VP smoke up thinking that they can get a kill on exactly what they see here, and a lone support that could lead into a free tower mid. But what happens is they're now deep in enemy territory, and instead of bursting the target they want, there's time for Secret to regroup and re-engage. So it's a pretty unfortunate turnaround for VP. They lose 3 heroes, but these are heroes that are expendable to them. They haven't lost the Razor, who didn't go diving in and backed when it became dangerous, and they didn't lose the AM. So the tempo that they lost is actually pretty negligible. This is, if ever there was a time to call something tactical feeding, this is it. They have tactically fed so that the Ravage goes on cooldown, and that the side lanes have now been freed up. Razor can after this go bot because Storm has had to back up. And we'll watch what happens with the Razor in a moment there, because it's a really important fight for the momentum of the greater game. So again, Ramzes is just soaking up this farm, and he's accelerating in levels and farm really, really quickly. He's going to get level 17 at 18 minutes, and that's just huge. How do you play into that, right? So Razor with the coverage of the wards, with mid lane being pushed in by Darkseer, and top lane being pushed in, he's willing to show. He's got his BKB. It's a fighting item, right? This isn't a greedy Midas Razor or anything silly like that. This is a Razor that's built to fight, so that he can make space for AM, right? Storm isn't killing AM because he's on the Razor, and the Razor's built with this BKB to take that fight. So with this this buff to raise it, you might call it, unstable current, it's a fair amount of damage. Just kicked out right there. And you can see again, Ramzes on the Space Taker doing exactly that. Just soaking up all this farm. So I'm going to pause it right here and look at my notes. Okay. So after this, Storm is dead. You know, this Storm is dead and Ramzes has got Manta Style. So for the first time in the game, really, he's actually farming over this side of the river, right? He's now taking a risk for the first time in the game. And it's not a big risk either, but it shows you the broader strategy of what's happening. So mid one, the moment solo expose a vulnerable hero, he's actually on them. Mid one is not a bad Storm. He's a fucking great Storm. And he's a great Dota player. So I want to reiterate, this is not just anybody that VP are playing into, but the pressure they're applying is first rate. So again, some side lane, you might call them distractions. So VP are very happy to lose this POS 5 2000 net worth Wyvern. They're not really happy to lose their Razor. So we'll step back a little bit. So Razor's running straight to his tower, and 2 TPs, including AM, come out. If Secret would commit to that, they were going to get destroyed. So AM is only making rotations when he can get something out of it and kill Storm, or when he can defend his Razor. You know, the Spirit Breaker, to a lesser extent the Darkseer, and most definitely the Wyvern are very expendable. And this is some more old school Dota. I do love it. So right now, level 19, Manta Style, 21 minutes. We're actually coming to an end with this gank of the 4+1 Dota. Ramzes is now super strong, and they're able to gank proactively the Storm Spirit. And this is a shift in the game that Secret don't really recover from. So we're going to show you how this team fight goes out. With Ace has got his Radiance Bear somewhere. There it is. You can see the counter to the bear right there. He's no longer really able to fight. Huge combo from the Wyvern and the Darkseer. Ravage comes out. You can see Ramzes just playing on the sides. Goes for the vulnerable carry. You know, lets the support go. And it's a 3-for-nothing trade. And this is I'm gonna just let the video play on. Let the game play on, and you'll see them take this tower. But this is the end of the 4 vs 1 strategy. It served its purpose wildly successfully. VP going to win this game in really dominant fashion. So yeah, this is the 4-1 in action. To summarize some key points, you know, it's Ramzes, his farming choices were super safe. He didn't cross the river. His team were creating that space for him, and he just accelerated his own farm. Tempo was super important this game, and Ramzes was just playing that tempo. It's much harder to execute this stuff in pubs because it requires coordination and it requires some sense of sacrifice, which not all players are willing to do. But it's very effective, and not all carry heroes are able to do this. Not every hero can be an anti-mage, especially in this patch. So it is pretty situational. But yeah, the last point I want to reiterate was the importance on warding. You don't have to do what VP did, but you can see here again they play very objectively. The first time they get this BKB is the exact. Within 3 seconds they get BKB, they'd say, we're going to take Roche. Secret can't fight us, we're going to take an objective and further our dominance. But this warding, and I'll pause it here because the warding achieves a similar thing. This ward is gonna spot rotations in from carry. They smoked into roast so they didn't get seen by this ward, which again is just smart play. This ward is if they're trying to do anything split push wise or gank wise. But these wards down the bottom here were really what, from the supporting side of the game, were really important. So anytime that secrets show here is just free space for AM. They don't need to ward where AM is farming. AM wants to see things so that he can make moves. If he's seeing someone on top of him, it's kind of already too late. So I think that covers everything I wanted to in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was concise, coherent, and keep watching out for more. Cheers.